Hey everyone and welcome back to my channel. So Ni no Kuni was this film that kept popping up on my recommendations on Netflix time after time. So I thought I'd just sit down and give it a watch. Ni no Kuni was originally a series of JRPG games with the animation and art produced by the beloved Studio Ghibli. And this feature film sort of acts as a spin-off to the games. As far as I'm aware, you don't really need to play any of the games to watch this movie. Nearly all of the characters are brand new to my knowledge, and some of the locations may share some ties with the game, but don't impact the story too much. Fans of the games may prove me wrong though, but I don't think it really takes away from the viewing experience if you haven't played any of the games. The story centers around these two boys who, after witnessing their friends get attacked, get transported to this different world. A world more similar to Lord of the Rings or your typical JRPG games. They find that there's a strange connection between their world and the world that they've been transported to, and it becomes a movie about solving the mystery of who attacked their friend, how to save their friend, and what ties these two worlds together. To be honest with you, I'm probably overselling the movie to you right now. I can't deny that this movie is as by the numbers as it can possibly get. It's riddled with cliches, typical twists, and you can almost predict the story step by step. The movie's around an hour and a half, but I feel like it would have been better served if it's a video game or a TV series. They really wanted to hammer in the duality of the two boys and the different paths they take, but it's all just so predictable and cliche, and it's really not exciting. I've seen that scenario done way better in animations like Code Geass, and I've seen the fantasy world displayed far better in most other JRPG games and TV shows. I would say this movie is aimed more towards kids, but in the English dub there are a couple of scenes where there is swear words, and a few moments where it's a little bit too dark to show to children. So it kind of sits in this weird middle of being not appropriate enough for kids, but too plain and boring for adults. No surprise, the artwork was a big plus for me. The artwork's done by none other than Studio Ghibli, who have also done movies like Spirited Away and Howl's Moving Castle. And the soundtrack and artwork is just enough to keep you seated a little bit longer, wanting to hear more and see more of the world surrounding the characters. And they have this weird blend of 2D animation and 3D CG, with the characters in the movie being hand-drawn, but most of the surrounding worlds and vehicles and other such things being done through CG graphics. It's a slightly jarring blend, and it took me a while to get into, but by the end of it you don't notice it as much. I've not really seen anything else that's blended these two so much in the past, so that was quite an interesting thing to have a look at. You could tell this process must have been tough for the animators though, to the point where it almost affects the storyline. Parts in the story which are supposed to be climaxed by epic battle scenes only last for about 4 or 5 seconds, because you can tell it was just too much of a hassle to draw long drawn out fight scenes. So after a couple of slashes, most of the fights are finished, and it feels really anticlimactic, like they wanted to do more with it, but they just didn't have the time or the budget to put more into them. It makes it feel a little bit anticlimactic, and kind of ruins the pace for you. And all this together just makes the film nice. The main character is pleasant but beige, and the story is sweet but cheesy. The ending does try to finish with a bit of a positive to make you feel a little bit better of the movie, but it just doesn't really do enough to get rid of that feeling you've accumulated over the last hour and 20 minutes from watching just a boring and beige show. And this film loved to cram as much terminology as possible, to the point where I didn't feel like it was necessary to the story. Loads of characters, myths, legends, cities that weren't involved in the story, terminology so blatantly described because they know that no one understands what's going on. It made the dialogue between the characters feel unnatural, as if they knew that we were watching and had no idea what was going on. The movie could have spent a little bit longer with the build-up and the relationship between the two main characters, as I feel like it would have made the payoff for the ending a lot better. They tried to go down this route of a clash between two friends who take two different paths, but you don't see enough between them at the start of the movie to believe they were ever good friends in the first place. And that's kind of the issue, where this movie needed about another 10 minutes to flesh out the beginning of it, but also I feel like 10 minutes would have made it even more boring. So it's kind of at a double loss for this movie really. And that kind of sums it up. Yeah, so I can't really recommend this to people, unfortunately. If you're willing to go in with fairly low expectations and just want to watch the movie because you're a fan of the Studio Ghibli and want to see their artwork, then you might get something out of this. If you're looking for a thrilling RPG adventure, you're really not going to find it here. There's plenty of other shows and animations you can watch that will offer better characters and better story. And that's it from me today. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Let me know if you've seen this on Netflix, what your opinions are, and let me know if it does have any ties to the games that I did miss out. And as always, stay tuned for more videos on movies, anime, and video games. Until next time, guys, take care. Bye bye.